Greetings and welcome to Anita Talks History and Genealogy. And it's daylight saving time. We're in March and it's a beautiful day out here in Cali. It's probably still snowing or the ice is melting back east in other areas of the country. But we're having a, pretty nice day here. But regardless of where we are in the country, we're facing a war. And before I get started, please hit that like and share button and subscribe and check out my merchandise. And if you can, please donate at Venmo at ANITA-WILLS-4. That also helps keep the channel going. And purchase my books. My books are available on Amazon and several other outlets online. Or if you want a signed copy, contact me. And I'll get you, a signed copy. So, but today, let's just, think about what's going on. And the reason that it means so much to me, it hits so hard on me, is because I am one of those people who grew up during the Vietnam era, who became a teenager, who watched my classmates being drafted, the young men from my community, and regardless of what is being said about our community, these young men were headed to college. They were all going to, the ones that weren't going to trade school were going to the HBCUs in Virginia, South Carolina, going to Lincoln University. They had plans for their lives, and they were interrupted because of the Vietnam War. And that war decimated our community, and not only our community, but the white folks whose sons went too, because there were many, like Trump and George Bush Jr., who took off and went to Canada. Many of the so-called middle-class white young men did not serve in Vietnam. Most of the ones who served were the poor, the underclass of the white folks. And so it was devastating. It was devastating to our community economically. It took away someone who would, be a father, a husband, someone who could be gainfully employed and take care of the family. It decimated our community mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. War is hell. And if they did not tell us anything about we were getting ready to go to a war during the Vietnam era, we were just as clueless as the folks are about what's going on with Iran, except DJT, he doesn't know how to keep a secret. So him and his loud mouth, always trying to call people out, and if you're going to be sorry if you don't do this, and you're going to be sorry if you don't do that. He's not as sneaky as those folks were, those politicians were during the Vietnam War, where it was a surprise. So it won't be a surprise now, because he is saying that there may have to be boots on the ground. So whose boots are going to be on that ground? Because I can't tell if it's a war about the oil or if it's a religious war. So what are these people saying? Some of these so-called Christian rights groups are saying are framing it as a religious war. It's a lie. It is not a religious war. It is a war against Iran, which they have been waging. They've been doing this since the 60s. Well, let me put it like this. Since Iran discovered oil, they have been after Iran, either to control the government from within or to just take it over, but they have been at war with them. And the reason that they're using, talking about nuclear arms, something that the United States has, something that Israel has, something that other countries have, that's the excuse. They're talking, oh, they got nuclear arms, they can't have it. Why not? They're a sovereign nation. Why can't they have it? And why can the United States have it? Because the United States has been at more wars than Iran has, and threatening more people and sending the CIA over to do covert operations in foreign countries. That's the United States. Britain follows right behind the United States. So now it looks like the way that Trump is doing things, that it's going to be a war of white Europeans against brown people in the Middle East. And everybody's going to be caught in the middle. I'm saying this because folks need to wake up and realize what's going on. DJT is a five-time draft dodger. DJT is a 34-time convicted felon. DJT is an adulterer. DJT is in the Epstein files at least 38,000 times. This is your leader? This is your leader? Not only him, but almost everyone that's sitting in his cabinet. They were trading in little children. They were taking advantage of poor families and little girls for their own pleasure, doing rituals on them. And there's even some accusations that there were children killed. They're doing, satanic rituals and calling themselves Christians. How ungodly is that? And calling themselves Jews. How ungodly is that? I just want y'all to think about that today. Pray on it, whatever you do, because our children, by the way, this is the DEI president who don't want our children working besides white folks, calling our children names, but yet it's okay to send them to the front line, because at least 3 of our children have been killed over there already before the war even started. At least 3 black soldiers have been killed over there before the war even started. And little was said about that. Little was said about that. So we need to wake up and understand that this is not our war, this is their war. And keep our peace. Keep our peace and keep our children home. We want our young people educated. We want our people to have a good life for once. It has been a mess in this country since colonization. It has been a mess in Africa since colonization. It has been a mess in the Middle East and Asia since colonization. Point the finger where it's supposed to be pointed. Get to the root of the problem and resolve it so that we can live the life that Creator wants us to live, where you're getting along with your neighbor, where you're going about your business, where you're healthy, where you're educated, and making the world a better place. They're not doing it right now. And we need to be aware of that. And we need to, like we mind our own black business. Okay, we're doing that too. But that does not mean that we're not doing anything. Don't ever take that for granted. We are always busy. We're always doing something. And so is Creator. And God don't like ugly. And ain't too fond of pretty. But the thing about it is that you're trying to lie to us, lie in our face, and get us to just hand our children over, our young people over, to fight a war for DJT, who wants to be the king of the world. Come on. That's not going to happen. You all take care, pay attention, and stay woke. Love you.